Our attention shapes our most direct engagement with the world. It's a force which selects, emphasizes, and gives reality to things. And given its utmost importance in shaping our reality, it should go without saying that cultivating the right use of attention is essential for generating greater conscious sovereignty, greater conscious awareness and understanding, and as well a certain kind of power over our own affairs. It's easy to feel powerless in this world that we live in, to believe that we lack the capacity to change or steer our behavior in a better direction. We often see ourselves as victims of circumstance, as if we're indefinitely shaped and constrained by our past, by our family situations, our society, or some other external influence. And with that, we have no power in ourselves to change ourselves. We're often repeatedly exposed to these narratives regarding our own powerlessness. They appear in our consciousness as limiting beliefs, thoughts of insufficiency, telling us that we are not enough, that we're not worthy or deserving of love, respect, or esteem. Now, what justifies the existence of such thoughts? Why do we give them such power within our minds and allow them to take up so much space and to fester? When we give them this space, what effect do they have upon us? Do they lift us up and energize us? Or do they make us feel heavy, unable to act, weighed down by the unrelenting burdens of life? Much as our reality is really a product of thought, our thoughts, they create models, these interpretive frames and lenses that we project onto the world. And many of these thoughts are conditioned by the societies and educational systems that we grow up in, and as well our wider cultural influences. Now, this conditioning often doesn't serve us. It doesn't bring us towards flourishing, enlightenment, or awakening. Instead, it often keeps us, quote unquote, trapped in the matrix. And it really impedes our capacity to cultivate true sovereignty over ourselves and our own affairs. Now, to cultivate what I'm describing as conscious sovereignty and a kind of movement towards healing and joy, we need to examine what it is that we pay attention to. We need to look at what occupies our minds daily, examining our thoughts and distinguishing between the thoughts which are valid and informative and those that have no real functional purpose but rather put us into denser and heavier states of being. You see, not all thoughts serve us. While some negative thoughts will highlight something important, they can often become excessive and unrelenting when we give them too much space in our mind. And this leaves us in a state of anxiety and unease. And it's really something that impedes our ability to enjoy life. I think it's also worth considering how many of the thoughts that we have during our days are pleasurable thoughts, how many reflect gratitude, joy, and bliss. Are these thoughts present in your life, or are they painfully absent? And and if they are absent in our lives, we need to think, why is this? And now I think we all can find things that we are grateful for within our life. And it's not a kind of woo-woo kind of gaslighting thing to give conscious space to the things that you're grateful for. It can seem quite almost tacky to start a gratitude practice as though it's sort of ignoring all the horrors in the world, in your own life. But I think if we're trying to conceptualize what a healed state is, a healed state of mind, a healed state of mind is, of course, one where the propensity of the mind, the habit of the mind is to think good thoughts, to think of grateful thoughts. And This is why I sort of encourage you, the listener, to think, what are the things in your life that you feel genuinely grateful for? What things fill you with excitement, curiosity, zest, and energy? And when you identify those things, bring them into your awareness and concentrate on them. Focus your conscious energies on that which energizes you and move away from the things which drain you. This shift in conscious focus is fundamental to healing and cultivating a real vigor and zest for life. And as you develop this capacity, you begin to discern which thoughts, activities, and patterns drain your energy and which nourish and grow you as a conscious individual. And this isn't an instant fix, it's more like tending to a garden. It requires repeatedly weeding out negative thoughts and addressing their deeper causes, which are often rooted in past traumas or subconscious patterns. And if we don't address these deeper causes, negative cycles, they will continue to resurface and simmer in our awareness. And this is why I advocate for the true, authentic exploration of our subconscious as a way to reach the core causes of our experiences. Healing isn't superficial. It isn't something you achieve merely by adjusting your diet or following a certain routine. Whilst these practices will certainly help, we need to really maintain the core purpose of what these routines are. You're not going to solve your life just by following some TikTok morning routine. Real progress requires examining where you're going, what you're prioritizing, and what is holding you back currently. And this demands introspection, not just, external adjustments to your environment. True healing, it always comes from looking within, and no health routine or advice from a guru can replace the work of self-reflection, and introspection. Superficial fixes, they can help on the surface, but they do not replace the core objective of true psychological healing, which requires that you take personal responsibility. You and each of us hold within us the capacity for introspection, the capacity for a kind of meditative inward looking, a stilling of the mind. And anyone who tells you otherwise, who suggests that you're incapable or you need to follow a specific course, they're misleading you. Much of our culture will aim to deceive, to pull us away from the most important task that we have, which is knowing ourselves. And you will not figure out how to do this by reading a book or by listening to some kind of podcast or lecture or whatever. You have to do it yourself in the way that you know how to. It's putting a mirror up to your consciousness and seeing what appears, what is reflected. That is that's the essence of knowing yourself. So that's why I encourage all of us to know thyself, to understand your patterns, understand who you are, and not just take something that someone has told you. But I'll leave that at that. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Enjoy the rest of your day.